Hi internet friends. Now I scheduled this video on my calendar 6 days ago and I still haven't filmed it or even thought about putting it up. I don't know why. The idea of throwing in a favorites video into my lineup just has always felt like something that I should be doing. So just a heads up, most of this stuff was purchased myself. One thing is gifted and I will note that when it comes up. I don't want to stick to just clothing and makeup. I do enjoy reading and I enjoy watching TV, as most of us do. I am gonna first start out with makeup. This bad boy right here has been the best thing that I have thrown into my makeup routine in at least the last decade. I have been a NARS fanatic for the longest time, and I still am. I still use the NARS concealer, but I did want something besides just a BB cream. I was so nervous to try this out. This is the Estee Lauder Futurist Hydra Rescue. I was very much influenced by this. With all of the Sephora favorites that came out within the last month or whatever, I have just been watching all those videos, and this was probably the item that I saw come up the most. So I was like, you know, it's time I try this. I was very nervous because it is supposed to be a moisturizing foundation and I run very oily, like super oily. It so far has proven to not be oily at all. Like you can look back on some of my old videos and just be like, oh, that T-zone is looking pretty horrific. Which, mind you, I bought this thinking I was only going to wear this on days that I filmed for that like oily reason specifically, but this has easily become something that I wear every single day. And by the end of the day, it doesn't show anywhere really. Like, you know how sometimes you get creases and stuff like that? None of that happens, and I love this. This has just been my new holy grail item. One of the coolest things that has happened to me since I started a YouTube channel is the fact that you guys have like, I feel like I crowdsource like beauty information. The 2 times that I have filmed Get Ready With Me's, I just feel like my comment section ends up being such a good tool for me to like learn about makeup. I remember at one point somebody suggesting using brown eyeliner instead of black, and I do now. Like I switch back and forth quite a bit, but like I tried the brown and I was like, holy crap, I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner. The suggestions or just tips and tricks and stuff like that that have come from my comment section are amazing. I love you guys so much is basically what I'm trying to say. Next up in the realm of beauty is this Kristen S Recovery Balm. Now I got this specifically because of my flyaways. I get horrendous flyaways, and to make things even worse, I am getting a lot of gray hairs growing in too. So they are very wiry gray hairs. Per my hairstylist, she actually said I could probably floss with my gray hairs. So they are very wiry, but I also know they are something that like eventually I'm going to absolutely love when I decide to grow all of my grays out. I just kind of like lightly dab it on. I don't go in too deep. Like I can't like just like press down on my hair. It is meant to be used as like a hair treatment, so it can get very greasy. Like you can go from day 1 hair to like day 4 hair in a matter of minutes if you put on too much of this. So just be very careful with the, you know, application. But overall, I would say this has just been a game changer as far as just kind of like maintaining the frizz. And also, not to mention, like now that I live in Florida, I swear going outside for longer than an hour, my hair just starts to like, you know, it like bunches up right here. Another way that I see people using this is when they want to do like the slicked back bun. I've only done that once, and I did notice like the very next day you have to wash your hair. Next up is this bad boy. It was about time that I purchased a steamer. I have been needing a handheld steamer for the longest time. I have my like commercial grade Jiffy steamer that I use for, you know, my product clothing and stuff like that. But I desperately needed something that was just a grab and go item. I really don't think brand matters when it comes to stuff like this. Like if you're just steaming 1 or 2 items, you can get really anything on Amazon and you're gonna be fine. I just liked that you could like fold it up and kind of make it collapsible. That was one thing that drew me in. I am just glad that I finally got something that makes me realize I have no excuse not to steam my clothes. I'm normally pretty good with steaming my clothes when I feature stuff in videos, but you know, if I'm just like randomly getting ready for the day, I will say no to a piece of clothing if it's not steamed. And then I just will never steam it, and then it just sits in my closet and doesn't get used. So this has helped me not do that. And also, not to mention, I am so desperately trying to get myself in the mode of filming like reels and shorts. This is a bit of a tangent, but like I know short form content is where it's at and it's always been where it's at. But for some reason, like long form content is where I am a lot more comfortable, I think, in creating stuff. And I don't like TikTok. Like I will not, like I signed up for it twice now at this point, and each time it just left me with a feeling of like emptiness and just not wanting to create anything for that platform. And I understand it feels like it's easy for a lot of content creators to have like conversations through TikTok, like it's shorter format. It's, you know, it's like no frills, no fuss. And I do appreciate that aspect of it. But for me, I can't wrap my head around the concept of just like constantly just scrolling. I don't feel like I get to know a person through those formats. Like I feel like you just fly right by them. You like something and maybe 2 months from now, you'll see another thing from that content creator. But it just doesn't feel like you build these like, I don't know, just interests, I guess, is how I would put it. Like any of the YouTube people that I watch, I admire them or I watch them because their content is either uplifting or it's entertaining or whatever the case may be. Like TikTok and Instagram, I'm just like, I don't know, I just don't connect the same way, I guess. So that's my 2 cents and my struggle with creating short form content. As far as clothing goes, I feel like I've been on a journey with peplum items. A couple of videos back, I like swore off peplum as dramatic as I can be, but I saw this top the other day from Express and I was like, that is so gosh darn cute. I would like very much to add this to my wardrobe. And I've worn it twice now and absolutely love it. And I don't know, does it fall into a peplum category? I feel like I could make it fall into a tunic category as well. I made a whole trends video about how I will not wear peplum, and yet here I am still trying it out. But I think that's honestly the fun of fashion, is sometimes you won't like an item, but then you'll find it in another format and suddenly you will fall in love with it. It's all about the presentation at the end of the day. I have been trying to collect a little bit more in the realm of t-shirts. I was on a vintage t-shirt kick for the longest time, and I am kind of steering a little bit away from it. I have really been enjoying the idea of polished t-shirts. I have recently added a Play Comme des Garçons t-shirt into my arsenal of clothing. These kind of come and go out of my life being a thrifter like I am. They aren't always easy to tell if they are real or fake, but I will say most fake ones won't have like this detail of tags. I actually wore this into the parks the other day. I wore this at Epcot and I literally heard this guy walking by me go, Comme des Garçons! And I was like, yes. It's like one of those, if you know, you know. Like when you see the heart, you're just like, oh, you know? The brand in general just will always be one of my personal favorites, and I will forever be excited when I thrift a variation of their clothing. Someday I'll reach a point where I can buy the like full priced items. That's a personal goal of mine. And then next is this vintage Disney Paris t-shirt. So I have a love-hate relationship now with this print, and I kind of wanted to talk about it because for a solid run on my channel, I mean, this was something that I wore on a regular basis, was like this print in a sweatshirt, or I've had t-shirt variations of it. Like I've just always been obsessed with finding the vintage versions of these. I am heartbroken since I moved here and realized that all of the stores have come out with an updated version of this. So you can buy the blue or the gray sweatshirt with this Mickey print on it. And for the longest time, that was like a holy grail item in the vintage world, that like if you found it, you found a really good piece and it was really old and nostalgic. And now it's like every corner you turn in Disney, you see somebody wearing this sweatshirt or this t-shirt or whatever variation. And I mean, it's one of those, like, I'm not gonna complain to the point that like I wish they didn't do it, because clearly it's something that like people are enjoying and they're wearing and it's a fashion statement that they're making. But I think there is this like little version of my head where I'm just like, oh, but it was, you know, it was like a vintage thing and now it's not a vintage thing. But I think the older I've gotten, the more I've just come to realize that, like, you know, that's what comes with the territory. Like when something becomes big and it becomes a trend, it will be commodified and turned into some kind of like merchandise or, you know, money-making machine. It does, of course, mean that like the value on the vintage items have gone down, but I still will always be excited when I find some kind of vintage version of it. It's from Disneyland Paris, which I have not been to Disneyland Paris, but Disney Paris is now on my list, and I think it'd be pretty cool if I could wear this t-shirt there. I'm dreaming big, you guys. And the one thing that was gifted, but I do feel like has quickly become one of my favorite items. This is the Quince dress. I featured this in a video a little while back, but I feel like this is like my summer uniform. I always lean towards dresses the moment it starts to get hot outside. It's a need item when you live in a hot, humid climate. I went from like hot, dry climate to hot, humid climate. And, you know, both of those extremes will just force you to like think critically about the clothes that you wear. One, it hides sweat. That is like one of the first things that I look for is if I am sweating profusely, how badly will it show? You know, it's comfortable, and that's really what we're looking for is comfort. These were purchases I made because I saw so many health influencers wearing these, and I was like, okay, are these like really a thing? Should I be seriously thinking about this? I ended up going on a deep dive rabbit hole sort of thing on rose tinted glasses and migraines, and I am a major migraine sufferer. I get minimum 5 migraines a month. Most of them are hormonal, but I guess like once I have those hormones raging in my body, I am more prone to migraines. These have quickly become something that I wear when I can feel a migraine coming on and I still have work to do. They're not a need, but they are something that I feel like has like broken up the time frame of my migraines. Are they a cure-all? No, 1000% not. They have not saved me from migraines, but the red tint does help. And I'm also somebody who is like photosensitive. I think that's the word, but watching like flashing lights and stuff like that will trigger a migraine for me. So I have also used these at theme parks too. So like when I'm at Epcot, if there's a band playing, if it's like late at night and the flashing lights are really gonna bother me, but even during the day, I will put these on and they have definitely helped lessen the blow of a migraine. Okay, next let's talk about books and TV shows. I am such a sucker for like whimsical, weird series. I have been reading the Outlander series on and off. I keep going in like bursts of energy where I want to read it and then it'll kind of like die off for a little bit. Lately, I have been reading A Discovery of Witches, which is from the All Souls trilogy. This was a TV show that I watched first, so like I already know the story, but I really wanted to read the book too. Most of my books are kind of forced into my life in a weird way. I will always try my best to thrift books when I do. This was something that I had already watched the show and then I saw it at the thrift store and I was like, oh, I should probably give this a read. It's actually been sitting on my bookshelf for an eternity now and I have finally picked it up, but now I feel like I want to read the book and then rewatch the TV show and see how I feel about it. I love, what's his name, Matthew Good, I think that's his name, but I've always had a thing for him, so it just fits perfectly into the whole, you know, book and then handsome lead character, like that whole thing. This has been like a really cheesy book for me. I don't even know if I would recommend it. Maybe I shouldn't put this in my recommend list. It's not groundbreaking. It's not anything that I would say is like emotionally a really good read. Like Outlander, that's a fantastic read. That is a magnificent world building book. This is like fun. It's funsies. I really have not been watching a lot of TV lately, but the one TV show that I have watched was The 3 Body Problem. I was really nervous going into this series because a guy I dated read the books and like spilled the entire storyline for me. So I wasn't sure how much I knew about it or like how much had been spoiled for me, but thankfully he pretty much just broke down the synopsis. I really don't necessarily think it's a show that has any true spoilers. I think it's more like questions, philosophical, you know, would you do this? Or like, is this good or bad for humanity? It's kind of based on like the choices that we make. It's a really interesting series and I hope that it gets okayed for the second season. It's by the same guys who did Game of Thrones too. That's another thing that it's like, oh, is this gonna be good? Are they gonna ruin it in the end? Overall, I really enjoyed the show. It is also based on a book, so I'm thinking about reading the series. I see so many mixed reviews on the series as well, but it won so many awards. There's actually a YouTuber that goes by QuinnsIdeas. He does fantastic breakdowns of the series and the books and everything, and he's gotten me very interested in the idea of reading it, but I just don't know if I can commit to something that is like that mind-bending, I guess. I don't know if you can tell, but I love stuff that is either like slackjaw type stuff where you just don't have to think at all, and then I like stuff that you have to have like 10 internet tabs open just to understand what is going on. If you're looking for a really interesting series and something to kind of make your mind start turning and ask questions and, you know, look at it from a philosophical standpoint, that series is definitely something that I would recommend. Last but not least, I think that covers pretty much all of my favorites, but I do want to throw in like a couple YouTube videos or YouTube content creators that I have absolutely been loving lately. In no particular order or rhyme or reason, I just mentioned QuinnsIdeas. He is a fantastic like book and sci-fi type person. I also have been watching a lot of Alana Davison and TheMicheleWang. Those are two content creators in like kind of the beauty and fashion space. They're totally on a different level as far as like financial breakdown and income levels and all that kind of stuff, but sometimes it just is so fun to just use that escapism to kind of watch those videos. I have to say, my like editing style, how I like kind of zoom in on my face and like wiggle around, that has totally come from Alana Davison. However she edits her videos are always a masterpiece. That was one of the first things that I learned to do after I watched her videos, because I was like, that's cool. I want to figure out how to do that. One video that I recently watched that I just could not look away from was Coffee and Cults. She did a video, The Cults, Crimes, Creeps, and Curse of the WB, and it covers like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Charm, Smallville. It just is heartbreaking to me because I am such a big Buffy fan, and I've always known ever since all the stuff came out about Joss Whedon and just how horrible he was on set, like I've always known that that whole genre, that whole realm of television has just kind of been ruined for me. That was just one of those YouTube videos that like just watching it just made me sad and also just like nostalgic in its own way. And oh, and last but not least, another favorite of mine is MiddleAgedMinx. So this actually came from my comment section on a video where I tried on like a bunch of 70s clothing. I specifically asked you guys to give me a list of content creators that you really enjoy that are older than, I want to say I said older than 30. You guys delivered. I mean, that comment section is a treasure trove. That is probably one of my favorite videos that I've ever made, strictly because that comment section is so good. I am so thankful for every single suggestion that you guys gave me. They are all so good. But MiddleAgedMinx, I think, has to be my personal favorite. She's consistent with her videos, which I love that. That's something that like I'm really trying to do. They're always vlog style, but they are just like, oh man, what an incredible woman. Someone who just has been in her industry for years. She has such a good presence on camera. And she just, I don't know, I just love her. I absolutely love her. I love her style. I love her outlook on life, just everything. She's a treasure trove of YouTube videos. She's definitely someone that like, I look at my career path and I go, should I be terrified that like I'm doing this? Sometimes I find myself questioning, is YouTube a space that I should really be putting this much energy into? And seeing content creators like her who have just built and cultivated this friendship and community just feels like such a good space, such a cool thing to have. YouTube is a hard space, man. Like it's hard as far as growth goes. It's hard as far as like just maintaining a constant rhythm, maintaining like a good space, like a good community. It can sometimes take a toll on you, but sometimes I look at creators like her, MiddleAgedMinx, I love her. I'm obsessed with her. Hold on a minute. I have one last favorite to share with you guys. I saw a baby sandhill crane the other day. Technically kind of a teenager, but you could tell that like he or she was probably maybe a couple weeks old. I don't know. The moment you see them, you could tell they're like, their feathers haven't like fully grown out and they still look like little fluff balls. Ugh, adorable. That is it for today's favorites. If you guys enjoyed this video, let me know down below. I kind of sorta want to start turning this into like maybe a monthly thing. Maybe I'll do like an every other month or monthly. I just don't buy enough stuff to like really turn it into something that like is a regular basis. You know, we're a little bit slow here with our product consumption, so there is that. But I hope being able to add in books and TV series and YouTubers maybe helps like alleviate some of the influence of purchase, if that makes sense. You guys, like I said, have given me so many good recommendations on what to watch and read and consume, and I just think that's all part of this fun thing that we do here, you know? Thank you so much for watching. If you guys are new around here, I might have a couple extra videos for you right here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.